It's my great honor to chair this session. As you just heard, recording is in progress. So I have a briefing sheet here. And if you don't want to be on the record, please switch off your camera because we're recording it so the videos can then be shown on YouTube so that people maybe who are going to parallel sessions or couldn't make this session can look at it later. So you're on record for posterity. I just want to say, as you'll be hearing from all at the beginning of all the workshops, that many of our participants and hopefully people who are able to join us during this session are from Ukraine and the post-Soviet zone. Also, there will be people for whom English, a lot of people for whom English is their second language. So what I would say of all of us, can we speak clearly and slowly so that everybody can hear? And I say that of both the presenters and also when we get into the Q&A session. Also, the good news is another set of delegates from the 60th country have now joined the conference. So this is the greatest number of countries ever to join a World Community Development Conference, and it just shows the power and opportunity from the virtual platform, particularly allowing people who can't usually afford to ever go to international conferences to join this sort of event. Anyway, I'm going to ask each of the speakers, first of all, to introduce themselves. And then what we'll do is I'll ask one to then lead off on their presentation, and then we'll take some questions. And then another to lead off, then we'll take some questions. And then the third set of speakers. We may need to reverse the order in your program, depending on whether our Ugandan friends can join us in time. And then at the end, we can have general Q&A. We have a great set of expert speakers, but I also know that all of you could well be speakers in this field. And therefore, please, please share your expertise with us. So the general theme of this session today is community-based responses to health and care needs, and also to working with indigenous and traditional wisdom and practices. So let us now introduce the speakers. And I'd like to first go on to Wang Xiu Wei, who's from Hong Kong in China. So would you like to introduce yourself and say what it is you do and a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Xiu Wei from Hong Kong. I'm a social worker. I work in Caritas. My service is community development. So I would like to share my work, which previously in the COVID-19 in the fifth wave in Hong Kong. Especially, we have a program to help the grassroots families to treat the long COVID, because long COVID have very bad influence to their work and their emotions. So my program is mainly on the telemedicine service.
Great, great. Let me just hold a second. Welcome, Samuel. Welcome. I'm very, very glad you're able to join us from Uganda. I'm your chair for today, and my name is Charlie McConnell. Samuel, we've lost your picture, but can you still hear us? Samuel, Urach, can you hear me? Elena, maybe could you talk to Samuel? Samuel, can you just let us know if...
I think Samuel have a poor connection.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll work on that. Okay, so let me introduce the next speaker, Ying Hao Huang, who's from Taiwan. The floor is yours. Can you introduce yourself? Sorry, this is obviously Samuel trying to make a connection. Okay. Samuel, could you just hold a second and I'll introduce you in a minute. Ying Hao, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. My name is Ying Hao. I'm from Taiwan. I'm a community worker and I also teach in university. And I'm also a social worker. So I teach in Department of Social Work. Nice to meet you all here.
Very nice to meet you too. Samuel, can you hear me now? It's so frustrating. I think we're going to have to hold and move on. Now, I notice we have we have a quality group of people in this session. So while we're waiting for Samuel, I just want everybody to say hello. So I'm going to ask, because it's about 10 of us or so. Vera, can you hear me? Would you like to introduce yourself? Not picking up. Sasha, are you able to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
I can hear you.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, just wait. This is going to be difficult. Samuel, we need to get your connection right. It's very difficult to hear.
It's quite unfortunate that the network here is not stable.
That's clearer. Okay. I'm really sorry, I'm going to cut across you. My apologies for that. I'm going to ask our tech people to talk to you, Samuel, and see if there's any way we can improve the connection. And I know the difficulty is probably maybe your end,
yes,
but we will work. But I think if we move on, and then I'll come back and introduce you, because it's very difficult to hear you.
All right.
So could you hold on, please? Thank you. Okay, so I was just asking.
I'm actually from Uganda.
Yeah, I think we're going to have. We can't hear you, Samuel.
Northern part of Uganda.
Yeah. Samuel, could you stop, because it's
Right
very
now,
difficult to hear you. Very difficult for participants to hear you. So could you go on mute for 1 second? Go on mute, please. Okay. Elena, can I ask you to try and help Samuel in some way?
Yes, okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to get a signal through. My apologies, Samuel, I really do apologize. Could you please stop? Great. Sorry, I should send a chat, shouldn't I? That's my France. I will do that. I was just asking the other participants if they would like to say hello. So Sasha, would you like to say hello and where you're from? I'll go down the list of people I can see. Ritu from India, would you like to say hello?
Sorry?
Say hello to everybody. Where you're from.
Yes, definitely. Hi, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here. I work in public health.
That's great.
So, yeah, and I've also worked in Uganda. So I look forward to learning.
Okay, we look forward to this group. Vera, are you able to hear me and say hello? Let me go to the next one on my list, Tanya.
Vera sent our message. Charlie, I can hear you and understand a little, but my English is bad to answer.
Okay. Speak slowly, guys. Me too. Welcome, Tanya. Sasha, can you hear me? Maybe we're going to have difficulty with this.
Yes, I hear you.
Ah, great.
Hello.
Hi, lovely to see you. If you wish to be seen, put your video on. If you don't. All right, those are the pictures that I have on my screen. Hi, Sasha. Hi, lovely to see you. So I'm going to move on. I'll just try one more time. Samuel, let's see if it's clearer. Can you hear me? No. All right, I'm going to move on. So our first speaker today is Yinghao Huang from Taiwan. The floor is yours, Yinghao. If you would speak for about 15 minutes or so, and then we can get into this discussion with you.
Okay, thank you. So I try to share my PowerPoint.
Here we go.
Okay. So my topic is the practice and challenges of indigenous solidarity economy, and from the example of the Good Shepherd Social Welfare Foundation and Ina Kitchen. And my name is Yinghao. I'm from Taiwan, from National Donghua University. So the topic is about solidarity economy, and solidarity economy emphasizes cooperation, equality, and democratic participation, and environment-friendly economic activities. And my core thinking is about how might the integration of solidarity economy and social service be the new direction for social welfare group in promoting local unity and organizational empowerment among indigenous communities. How can that become true? And I have a very simple picture about the thinking. Is that I'm a social worker, so we will face a lot of clients. I just thinking all we can do is do home visits, or we can do casework, or we do some resource referrals. Besides this, exact this, how we can do more? Can we go to the core, the core of the poverty? I mean the capitalism. Can we create another way or another option or another economical model for our clients, not just do home visits or not just do our casework? This is my core question and my core thinking. And what is solidarity economy? Then solidarity economy emphasizes cooperation, equality, and as I mentioned, democratic participation, and do some activities. Those activities is friendly the environment. So because I'm a social worker, I think if only when social work is no longer seen as we are a very professional social worker and we work with the government, when we can go to the community and we can do some community industry or some activities with our clients, that's the way we can go to the community and work with the client, not just work with or work for the government. And that's some background of my topic. This is Taiwan. And I don't know if you can point out where is Taiwan. So I give you the picture. This is the world picture. And Taiwan is next to China, beside Japan and Philippines. And this is my university. And I'm from the Department of Indigenous Affairs and Development. And we have a program about indigenous social work. So very welcome to connect or have some linkage with us. Feel free to email me, or welcome to visit Taiwan and my university. And about the peoples in Taiwan, there are about 80% of Taiwan, they are Taiwanese. And account about 14, they are migrant from the mainland China. Only 2%, they are indigenous people. And nowadays we have 16 nations of indigenous people in Taiwan. And those are different nations, different tribe group, indigenous peoples, their pictures, very diverse. And about the history of indigenous people in Taiwan, we need to talk about the colonized history. Taiwan has been colonized by Spanish, Dutch, China, Qing dynasty, and Japan. Taiwan being colonized by Japan for 50 years. So my grandmother, my grandfather, they can speak very good Japanese language very fluently. And nowadays we can say indigenous people in Taiwan be colonized by the Republic of China. So about the history, the historical trauma, and the colonized history. So nowadays, there are some social issues of indigenous people in Taiwan. Something like cultural loss, and we don't have enough job opportunities. And we don't have our own education system and lack of medical resources. So about the presentation of today, my case study will focus on a tribe, the tribe called Tafalong tribe. And this tribe belongs to Amis people. Amis is one of the 16 nations in Taiwan. And in this village, in this tribe, there is a foundation. And this foundation is an NGO. This NGO called Good Shepherd Social Welfare Foundation. And this foundation set up a project, and this project called Ina Kitchen. And this project, we think it is some kinds of solidarity economy project. So there are some background of this project. We will say this project is Ina Veggie Safi Tafalong. And Tafalong is the name of the tribe. And Ina in Amis language means mother. Now, and this project, we call it Ina Veggie Safi Tafalong, means there is a group of women from the village, and they use the traditional heritage and indigenous knowledge about wild vegetables. So they plant and collect a lot of wild vegetables, and they will sell to the people in the city side, in the urban side. So they build a connection, and they do very small business. And the interest, they will have some interest, and the interest will go back to the community and go back to the tribe. Okay, so next, so about the business, they will have about 10% to 20% revenues. The revenues, they will go back to the care system in the village. So they will do some hot meal for the old people, or they will have some care system or care programs for the young peoples. So this is a picture about their working, daily life working. And this is some picture about what I mentioned. They will collect the wild vegetables from the village. And because those vegetables is especially for Amis people. So Chinese people or Taiwanese people, they don't know how to eat, how to use the wild vegetables. So they have some documentary videos about how to cook and all the knowledge about the vegetables. So they make a QR codes. So you put your cell phone and your sensors. You can, when you got the vegetables, you can know and you can immediately know the language and know the knowledge about the wild vegetables. So I think the outcome of this project, the first one is all the women in these projects, they pass on their tribal cultures as well as earning income through wild vegetables and vegetable box. And the QR codes on the wild vegetables allow urban peoples to learn about the cuisine and the culture of wild vegetables by watching videos in real time. The income also supports the collective care and concern work in the tribe. So there are some discussion about this case. The first one is the mutual help. Through this case, we can see the possibility of using solidarity economy to support community care and develop a vision of indigenous social work. We can also see that the indigenous and collective characters, such as Aboriginal culture asset and tribal mutual assistance and sharing. So the most and the very important value of indigenous knowledge about mutual assistance and sharing, that's become the core value in the solidarity economy. So there are some other discussion about how all the women in the inner kitchen, they can do very good in internal democracy and how this kitchen become a commonwealth. And they do a lot of interest or a lot of care service to go back to the community. And this group become a very alternative, or they got their autonomy because they can raise money by themselves. And this indigenous solidarity economy seems to find its way. I think we have learned that in the old time or in the ordinary mainstream, we always say rational and self-interested individuals. So this case tells us how can we to do some social and cultural collective of cooperation and sharing. I think this is most big learning from this project. So there are four conclusion about this case. The first one is the solidarity economy can reduce reliance on capital and state subsidies, allow tribes and social welfare organizations to be more autonomous. The second, a solidarity economy of indigenous peoples reflects the characters of tribal collective mutual assistance and cultural inheritance. The third is a solidarity economy brings new imagination and working methods of helping people. the last one is the key to success for the operation of the solidarity economy of indigenous people are in internal democracy and giving back to the community. Okay, that's my conclusion. And that's all. Thank you.
That was very, very clear indeed, Ying Hao, and thank you for outlining questions for discussion. So let me just take, if anybody has any questions now, maybe points they didn't understand, or just some questions for Ying Hao. Would anybody like to ask any questions?
So one question, just want to know, for the project is mainly for the women in the trip. What is, why you only choose the women be the project target, because of their economic status is lower, or because they are the expertise in planting the white vegetables? Yes, this is my questions.
You got that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. Yeah, that's very good questions. In Amis tribe, in Amis village, some work especially for women, some work especially for men. So like hunting, like construction, those work is for men. But if you want to collect some resource, collect some vegetables, those work belong to women. So all the wisdom, all the knowledge, it belongs to women. This is the first answer. Another one is because we work with the organization. This organization is a social service organization, and their clients focus on women and young people and child. So that's why we only can linkage with women. That's our first step. But for if we want to do more community work, we need to spread out to men. That's the whole village. So thank you for your question.
Are there any more questions at this point? Just looking to see if there's anything in the chat for you, Simon. Can I just ask a question myself, Ying Hao? It's a very inspirational project, and a lot I think we can learn from this. But in your final slides, you talk about greater control, self-determination, empowerment, and less subsidy from the state. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because maybe the subsidy is there because this is a poor community and they require additional funds from the state. You know, is our objective merely to push the state out of the way, or is it also a redistributive objective that they get additional capital assets or funds to help with further projects?
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Thank you for your question. In Taiwan, the social welfare system is not very well. So in the past 20 years, we will talk about a welfare state. We just talk about. So we do emphasize the responsibility from the state, from the government. So we have a lot of advocates to say that the welfare right from the state, they should put more budget on the village or on the indigenous rights and indigenous people's welfare. So we do so. But in this case, we want to advocate, emphasize more about the autonomy of the group or of the village. So we will say we don't want to receive more subsidies or more fundings from the government, because people will rely on the government and lose our independence or lose our autonomy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Can I just say the one thing I love the use of the QR codes, bringing modern technology into an indigenous community project. Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, Yinghao. When we've heard the second speaker, and hopefully we'll get to Samuel, we can have more of a shared conversation. So Xu Huai, you're from Hong Kong in China, and could you talk about your project, please?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Xu Wei. I'm a social worker as well. I'm from Hong Kong. I work from Caritas, a local social welfare and non-NGO, the NGO in Hong Kong. I think everyone also experienced the COVID. Yeah, everyone from all over the world also having the severe effects in our life. This project of using telemedicine, we use it's a new experience for us because we're using the traditional Chinese medicines, because most practitioners are not very well in the technology. So in this project, we have a young practitioner who can use the platform in online to see our client anywhere, anytime. So this project is from this background. As you can see, we put our target client on the underprivileged family. We call they are SDU families, because in Hong Kong, it is a very abnormal situation that many poor family, they need to live in a very inadequate housing because the rent is very expensive in Hong Kong. So the owner will make or divided the units into smaller compartments. So as you can see in the picture, the lady is using her cell phone to see the Chinese practitioner, and you can see this is the whole flat with the kitchen and the toilet just beside. So mostly this unit will not have window, or the window they will not open because of the smells, the very bad smell, which may be the restaurant just at the lower floor, or because of the hygiene problem, the rats will go from their window. So most of the family will close their windows, so they have poor ventilation. So after the our client infected from the COVID, they experience some syndromes like cough, headache, fatigue from weeks to months, which totally affect their to work or their family life, and it makes them very nervous and anxiety. So this project is starts from this reason. Or just say before that, we use the new mode of medical service. Is because most of our clients before, because this is a free program for our clients who had infected COVID, and they can enjoy 2 free of charge telemedicine service include the ready-made packs of herbal medicine. The herbal medicine just shown in the picture is already ready-made. They just need to reboil it and then they can drink. Mostly the traditional Chinese medicine, they need to boil the medicine by themselves. As I mentioned before, because of the SDU families, they have poor ventilation. So they will not want to boil the medicine in their home because of the smell and it is very inconvenient to them. So the ready-made packs is very good to them to use. And the most important part of this program is that we set up a neighborhood support network because some of them having the service, they are still infected. They cannot go out because of the quarantine. They need to home quarantine. And so our volunteers, just maybe their neighborhood, they will assist them to bring the medicines and the necessary like food or anti-epileptic packs to their family. So we start the program from a very short period from April to June, only 3 months. We provide more than 300 times for telemedicine and the packs of the herbal medicines. And around 200 families being beneficiaries. And this picture is one of our volunteers bring the food and the stuff to the family who are infected. So as mentioned before, Hong Kong, one of the top densely populated city globally. From this picture, you can see this is the whole area of the family. When they open the door, they will just have the bed and only a cabin for them to put the simple belongings. Some of them even do not have the toilets inside their units. They need to share the toilet together with other families. This one is another unit. You can see this is very messy because they have no enough space for them to store their stuff, or they have, most of them have poor maintenance. Most of these subdivided units are located in the old urban area or old residential buildings. It means that they will not have lifts or have many maintenance problems. No kitchen and no window, poor living condition. The size of the this kind of SDU family is around 100 or to 200 square feet. It's really small. And the median living area per person of a subdivided unit was found to be around 40 square feet. That you can imagine how poor this family in the not suitable living area. And from our perspective, that we believe that it is a social determinant of health because of their living and working conditions. It totally affects their health. And I will mention later that they have no working protections. Most of our grassroots families, we found it from other research and the research done by Caritas. We found that, they have poor sleep, poor social support network, and greater body strain and emotional distress. And mostly they are working poor. They need to working long hours and shifts, likely 10 to 12 hours per day. They are no paid blue collar workers, likely the cleaners or the waiters. They have no labor protections, especially in the COVID. They have no paid sick leaves. So they cannot enjoy the sick leave when they no work, they sick, they have no money, they can't earn anything. And the rent is about half or 1/3 of their salary. So they have no extra money to care themselves. And surely they cannot afford any medical insurance. So after the program, we conduct a survey to ask the participants some questions. We found that is the economical hardship. 40% of our participants believe that they will not treat their non-COVID without this free telemedicine service. They will just let it go as long as they can work, because no work, no money. Until they can't work, they will maybe go to the public hospital or just find a way to treat it, but they will not really seriously to treat the non-COVID. 16% of our participant family income was affected by the COVID, especially the 5th wave, because most of our their workplace was closed due to the government measurements. Their physical health, because all of the participants are infected by the COVID, so they, before the program, all of them experienced over 40% they experience insomnia, that is the sleeping problem, around 40% cough, 20% even experience breathing difficulty. They feel very fatigued, headaches, especially for the breathing difficulties. As I mentioned, these participants all live in the subdivided unit. They need to use the staircase to maybe walk to 6th or 5th floor. The client tell us that they need to rest 4 to 4 times before they go to their house, but this is not happen when they have not infected. So it's totally affected their physical health. And the mental health problem is that they have high stress level. We use the 10 score point scale for them to choose. Over 19% they have choose 8 to 10 points of showing their stress level. They feel very stressful of having non-COVID because, as mentioned before, all of our clients are from the blue collar. They need to work. They need to use their manual work. So if they have non-COVID, they cannot able to perform their work properly, especially for the construction site workers or some women. They need to wash many dishes every day. They cannot have the enough energy to do their work, and they also have high stress level because they are afraid to infect their family members. No separate room in their house. Once they infected, they also are afraid others will be infected in their own house. The experience of using telemedicine service, over 18% of participants have not yet tried the telemedicine service before our free program. Over 19% of participants, they believe they will use the telemedicine service continuously. So it is very interesting finding from us that if we do not or did not provide the free medical telemedicine service, they cannot enjoy a new mode of way to handle their sickness. And 96% believe that telemedicine encourage the people who cannot go out easily to handle their health problems. These graphs show that for the convenience, inconvenience, and expensive and the affordable amount. So you see that for mostly they will use the public medical service like public hospital and clinic because it is affordable, but the problem is that's very inconvenient. And for if they can see the doctor, no need to wait for long hour. The private medical service, Hong Kong still is available, but it is very expensive. It's not suitable for our grassroots family. So we found that the telemedicine service fit our plan is that due to the high flexibility and it allow them to drink the herbal medicine. And the other I want to stress is that the role of a community in fighting the pandemic, because the neighborhood level network become a participatory platform. So because everyone will have the chance to be infected, so they can become the user who need the volunteer service, or after they being recovered, they can become the volunteer. So they have the equal participation in this level. And we want to extend the network not only on telemedicine, we also extend the service to the restaurant and pharmacy to assist our client in this poor community. You see that this is the ladies with the bags is that they need to walk maybe 4 to 5 floors to reach the client with the packs. So they are very want to support each other because they know the hardship of each other. So you see the first picture is that the man who they clean up the floor together. You see there are 3 circles from observe, reflect, plan, and act. Because the COVID is around 3 years. In the first year, we gather the residents. They think they need to clean the public place because they will not have the cleaner to tidy up the public area. So we organize them and to teach them the public health, which this is very important to keep the place hygiene. So they take up the road, they clean. After that, they think that this is important to have some resident concern group to care each other. So they have the other acts. They go beyond. They become a volunteer team to serve the people who are infected. Because some of them also will afraid they will infected, but because of they think it is important if some of the family without support, this is very unbearable. So they take up the role and continue to do the volunteer service. So this is my presentation. Thank you.
Another really inspirational presentation, and thank you for presenting it so clearly. And I could see some links with Ying Hao. I think the indigenous peoples need to be marketing their all their wonderful herbs to the people of Hong Kong. But anyway, I hope you'll make links, you two. But again, now, can I open? I see there is one question from Sasha, which has been sent to us. I don't know if you saw that. It says, what were the biggest difficulties on your way, on the journey of the program?
Because some of the grassroots family, they are not very familiar with the multimedia, because we use the software in the cell phone is WhatsApp. The Chinese practitioner will make a WhatsApp call to our client to have the telemedicine service. But some of our clients even do not install the WhatsApp. So our social worker need to support the client before they can enjoy the service.
Would anyone else like to ask any questions at this point? Want some clarification or just general questions?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you for Su Wei. Thank you for your presentation. I learned a lot, especially the SDU family, the situation of those family, very impressive. And my question is about the traditional Chinese medicine, because as I know, the population or all the people in Hong Kong, the background is not only Chinese background. You have very diversity background of the people living in Hong Kong. So I just wonder if some people, they are not based on the culture of Chinese, if they like this way of medicine, herbal medicine, because in Taiwan, not most people, they use herbal medicine. So when you have some clients or your service users in the community or in the SDU families, they don't like this kind of medicine. If they ask for Western style medicine, what would you do?
As this is the program that it is optional. So as you say, some of them we will not choose to use the traditional Chinese medicine. So because the whole family, we will provide the service to the whole family, because mostly the one infected or the family member will be infected at the same time. So some of our participants is only the main clients, and their family member will not choose to use the Chinese medicines. This is really the case, because some of them don't like the smell of the herbals. They don't want to drink, especially the children. But some of them, because of the SDU family, most of them are the new immigrants from China. Most of them are from the China. So they also believe that Chinese medicine can treat the long COVID. We also have the case is the ethnic minorities to use the Chinese medicines. And I think they are brave enough to have the chance to drink the herbal medicine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Siu Wei? Were the mobile phones given free to everybody?
In Hong Kong, I think elder also have the cell phone. Yeah, it is very common in Hong Kong to have the cell phone and the free Wi-Fi, and or they can have the card. They have they can enjoy the network. So
sorry.
The main problem for using the telemedicine is that they not install the program.
And you can help with this. The social workers help with all of this.
We can provide them maybe the already the store value card, the SIM card. We can provide them, or we can help them to install the program, or teach them how to use the the WhatsApp because it is simple because we just have a WhatsApp call. They can have enjoy the face-to-face telemedicine time with the Chinese practitioner.
Yeah, and so you can give support if there are technical problems, that sort of thing, or is there assistance from the mobile company providers? Are they supporting your scheme?
Oh, because we have the volunteer, the neighborhood level volunteer. I think only maybe 10% of the participants, they cannot use the program before the telemedicine. So we can ask our volunteer to help, or they can just simply go to our center. We can give the participants support.
That's great.
Charlie,
Yeah.
yes, can I ask some questions?
Please, yes, Elaine.
Yes, I hope my level of English let me do this. I'm really interested in the researches about stress. I've been researching this topic for many years. I work with families with children with special needs, with autism. And I have seen many different stressors that affect parents with children with special needs. It can be psychological stress, it can be social stress, it can be stress caused by physical state. And often in this theme, when we talked about stress, we talk about distress, yes, about negative effect. But the most important thing is how to use this energy, this distress energy, to eustress, to make it positive stress, to use this energy to transform it to positive action, to motivation, to some willings or something like that. Do you have any examples of how to transform distress to positive stress?
I hope I can answer. I hope because we conduct the research at the beginning. We do the pre-test. We just ask whether they been affected with the non-COVID syndrome. Most of them, like I remember, it's over 19%. They've been very anxiety about the non-COVID because they don't know when they will recover, and because they maybe experience from 2 weeks or to a month, and they affect their daily life, especially the worker. They cannot work as before. They are afraid that they cannot earn the living to support the whole family. But with this program, you see they have the positive feedback, especially on mentally and on physically. Because physically, we find that really for the 2 times free service, the non-COVID syndrome likely maybe around you say maybe 80% have recovered. So they can, because I have a case study that a lady who enjoyed our service before the telemedicine service, they need to rest 4 to 5 times to go back to the house, because with the staircase they need to walk. But after she drank the herbal medicine, she need only 1 time, rest 1 time. But before, she can no need to rest. She can go to her home directly. So she think after she take the telemedicine, she been well. Then her mentally, because also they can sleep more better, because around 40% have the sleep problem after being infected. I don't know why, but most of them reported that they have the insomnia after being infected. So sleep better, they can recover more. So the mental problem is also their stress can also be maybe released, at least at some degree of extent they release that stress, because only 2 times, because we can only support them for 2 times. Then some of them even ask, can you give the name card of the practitioner? They want to pay by themselves to see more time until the whole syndrome can recover. So I hope I can answer your questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Elena, do you use technology like iPhones, etc., in your work, particularly with autistic children or other people with other disabilities?
Yes, we use many of technologies. We use how to say in sport pulsometer. I don't know how it.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what they're called either. The watches that check your
Watch
pulse and your
and
health.
yes, and the
Yes.
chest
Okay.
line. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
and some we use how would say it was
It's okay. It's okay. Can I just
should
ask?
prepare my answer, Charlie.
No, that was an unfair. I'm being very unfair today. I believe Samuel cannot connect. Is that correct, Elena? Is he able to join us? I can't see his
Yes,
face or
I
anything
can't
on the
see
screen.
too.
So, well, I'm very sorry for him, and I'm very sorry for us, because I think it would have been a very interesting presentation. And maybe after the conference, we have a sort of post-conference program on Discord, so in the practice exchange. So maybe we could invite him to present then. But I have been very cruel to Ritu Nanda from India, who is a trustee of IACD and works for the Global Fund for Children. And I asked Rita, if Samuel can't attend, are there some works, some projects or some ideas that you are aware of in India that are relevant to this discussion? So Rita, would you like to talk to us?
Yes, please. Okay, I am not prepared, but I will share what I have learned from communities, and I am in my office and not able to come on video, if it's okay with you.
Of course.
I have a background in public health and in community engagement. So just so that you know where I come from, and I quickly prepared a PowerPoint, but it does not have any pictures, but this is just a reflection. Please have patience with me, okay? Yeah.
Charlie, we can hear you. You are mute.
Yeah.
Wonderful PowerPoint. Both the images were great. Okay.
Yeah. So what I have learned in public health is that communities have a very crucial role in their own health. And I'll share 2 examples. What happens when they have a role, and because they are the experts of their lived experience. And 1 example when they don't have a role. Okay, are you ready for that? Okay, so I am a facilitator of this SALT approach, which I'm not going to share now. But what I really like about this approach is that it builds ownership of the communities in design, implementation, and self-measurement. And the belief is that when people take ownership, they will take action, and they will take action without external stimuli. And because they will take action, because they own it and take action, they will continue to take action, even if outsiders do not continue. So I supported a project in India on diabetes and hypertension. So patient-centered approach to diabetes and hypertension. So patients being in charge and experts in this. This is a lifestyle diseases under non-communicable diseases, where patients started taking several actions, especially on diabetes and hypertension. And as you know, in COVID, now those with non-communicable diseases were more vulnerable to COVID and to more severe symptoms of COVID. Okay. So what happened was that our project was shelved because of COVID, because of the lockdowns. But we get these pictures from the communities. And I was able to find one picture it's in the lower Himalayas, the northern part of India. So the community sent us these pictures. They said that whether you come or not come, we are taking care of our health. So they had started doing yoga at home. They had started ensuring that they were checking their blood pressure. Each other's blood pressure was checked. Their sugar levels were under control. They were adhering to medicine, reducing alcohol consumption. So yes, they had problems. They had problems of accessing medicines, but they did continue and to maintain this kind of lifestyle. So I'm not saying that external services are not important, but the role of the communities cannot be neglected or dismissed. Okay. And while COVID was on, I got this job in Global Fund for Children, and COVID had come. And we support NGOs in India, 6 NGOs. And what I noticed was that approach of providing, of charity, that we will provide to the communities, that it was the similar, it was a different approach from this approach. And so what did I do? I mean, I had to do something and not to teach people. So what I did is I conducted a desk, because I'm also a researcher. I conducted a desk review of past epidemics, past humanitarian crises, and to learn about how to work with communities. What had they done? For example, Ebola, which was pretty recent, 2015 in Africa. So what had worked in terms of communities? I'm not talking about the health. And so there, the writing was on the wall. When communities took charge, for example, for Ebola, when they decided enough is enough, we have to be careful about transmission of Ebola, about caring for those who are infected with Ebola, that is when it turned the tide, when things changed. So that was the learning, that we have to prepare communities, and especially with climate change and different disasters, which we are seeing in this world. No one will arrive. It's the communities who will be the first respondents. So I presented these findings instead of telling anyone that do this, do that. I said, learn from the experience of others. Okay. And first year, this is 2020, around June 2020, I presented. Of course, it's in public health, at least it's clear, awareness does not lead to behavior change, isn't it? We all know. Yeah. So all the NGO partners, they listened, they said, oh, it's nice, but that. Next year, 2021, when comes Delta? That is when, and we work with children and we work with really vulnerable communities, people, we run out of beds in the hospitals. There is no, what do we do? People are dying, children losing parents, children so vulnerable. And then I offered again. And this time what I did is I said, would you like to train the communities in how to take care of those infected with COVID, or how to prevent? And this time around, our partners, seeing that the communities were not allowing them to enter. There was, the fear of COVID was so much that no outsiders. They had actually barricaded their communities. No one they were allowing. So over Zoom, our partners, first I got trained, and then we trained the NGO staff, the organization staff, how, and they through Zoom trained the young people. And I have a picture here. So it's indigenous communities. This picture is from indigenous communities. And then these young people, they took care, they saved people from COVID. So, and what we did as a funding agency, we provided funds for medicines, for blood pressure apparatus, for all the medical kits. So what I'm saying is that this mix of communities and services, that's what we learned. This was the lesson learned from the experience. And after this experience, the communities, and especially the young people, they said that, we need a group in the village who takes care of the health. And after this, we started a community ownership process in the communities. So this is the journey we had to take. And these are the two stories from my end, from India. Nothing more to share. Over to you, Charlie.
Thank you, Ritu. It shows how wonderful we are as community development practitioners. In 1 minute, we can make a prepare a presentation. Thank you very much, Ritu, and thank you for sharing that. So any more questions for Rita or for Yinghao or Siu Wei?
I love your presentation with the SWOT as your framework. I learned from you. Thank you.
You inspired me. You both inspired me, and I thought of this example, and particularly indigenous communities, the wisdom in indigenous practices. It's time we went back and learned.
That's a good point, Ritu. And I wonder, I mean, we will finish earlier, I think, but if you had a final message from the experiences of your project to share with community development practitioners, what would that powerful message be? So Yinghao, what would that message be? We have a platform of world community development practitioners. You'll be on YouTube as well as this. If you have a message from your work with indigenous communities and your project, what would that be?
I think learning to each other in a daily life is the most important. So learning and sharing.
Yeah. Siu Wei?
In order to build a resilient community, I think it is most important for the residents to learn and participate in their own community because they know what is the best for them.
Ritu, would you have a message?
Yeah, I have two learnings. One is to, I think we need to acknowledge that people, citizens, and communities have the capacity. Unless we do that, we will not create that space for them to take leadership. This is the first lesson I've learned. The second I've learned from today's presentation. I think it's important also to important for IACD to connect people with similar interests, because then it'll spread. We have to now and connect not only practitioners but the communities. Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Well, you're on the board of IACD, so I think that's a great idea. A network of indigenous activists. Well, I'm sure there are networks of indigenous activists, but of development practitioners working around that and health issues. Okay, I just wonder if Vera
May
or
I,
Evgeny...
Charlie? May I?
Oh yes, of course.
My message.
Yes, of course, Elena. My apologies.
Thank you. I think that please give me quiet. Thank you. My team is near me. I think we shouldn't afraid to be stressed. to be distressed. And we should learn how to make our stress, our distress to positive energy for our life.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
And I send the link in the chat now. If you haven't been on our welcome session yet, please, you can join today. Ritu, Wangsu, where I think you haven't been on our welcome session yet. Yes, I will be waiting you. Thank you.
It's great fun. It's wonderful. So unless anybody has any more points to make, and again, you can always share on chat or just through the World Community Development Conference team. Thank you, all of you, and our two main speakers and Ritu for jumping up to the wire. Thank you so much. I think those were really excellent presentations. So much to learn, so much to share. So I'm going to close the meeting today, but thank you all. Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye. Enjoy the next session.